What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Weekly GCap, the only source you'll ever need to catch up on all the gaming news from the last week. As always, we got quite a couple stories to go through. Like, this is a packed show, so let's go ahead and get right into this. First things first, the Lara Croft collection is coming to the Switch. They put up a trailer the other day. This collection contains Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light and Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. These aren't like the typical Tomb Raider games. These are more like, I guess like isometric puzzle-based games with some action. It's kind of hard to explain, but these games are still a lot of fun. These games will be coming June 29th, and they will cost $25. Definitely worth it at that price, but I must ask, will we ever see the original trilogy on the Switch? I guess time will only tell. And for our next story, Callisto Protocol DLC was announced. This coming from the Callisto Protocol Twitter account, quote, "Prepare for final transmission, the heart-pounding final chapter of the Callisto Protocol. Play 48 hours early on June 27th, exclusively on PlayStation, followed by a wider release on June 29th for all other platforms." I don't see anything here about a price or if this is going to be a free DLC or not. I would hope that it's free after the way things went at launch. It was a bit of a rocky launch, especially for last-gen players. But regardless, if you enjoy Callisto Protocol, if you want to see what this is all about, that'll be coming out in just a couple days. Next up, this one's pretty short, but the Baiten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster did get its release date announced. This will be coming out September 14th on the Switch, so you can look forward to that. And for our next story, this one's always really tricky trying to figure out like what to put on the screen for you guys to watch. Every time that I've talked about this game, I've just kind of put up footage of the one phone app game that came out a couple of years ago. But anyway, Inspector Gadget Mad Time Party did finally get its release date announced. This coming from Nintendo Everything, quote, "Microtransacations has passed along a final release date for Inspector Gadget Mad Time Party on Switch and other platforms is slated for September 29, 2023. The older Inspector Gadget games were a lot of fun, so I'm really looking forward to this one, and it's only 3 months out at this point. And for our next story, a Sonic Central event was announced. This coming from the Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter account, quote, "Surprise! Sonic Central returns this Friday on Sonic's birthday. This will be taking place June 23rd, 2023, 8 a.m. PST, 11 a.m. EST, so actually just a couple of hours after this episode goes up, you guys will be able to watch this. Tune in for a sneak peek of some of our upcoming projects, partnerships, and events happening in 2023. So I'll definitely be tuning into that one, and I'll get you guys a recap on everything that happens inside of that showcase in the next WGC episode, as always. And for our next story, Immortals of Aveum was delayed. This coming from Ascended Studios, quote, "The recent feedback to the game proves to us what we already felt, that Immortals of Aveum is something special. In order to realize our full vision, we are going to take a few extra weeks, making our new launch date Tuesday, August 22nd, which is only about 4 weeks ahead of what they had planned initially. This will give us time to further polish the game, finish optimizing all platforms, and deliver a strong launch. We owe it to ourselves and to you to get this right. Stay tuned for more info about the game in the coming weeks, and thank you for taking part in this journey with us." As I always say, bad game forever bad, delayed game eventually good, so please take all the time that you need. I am very excited for this game, and you guys should be as well. This game looks absolutely insane, so yeah, guys, please definitely take your time on this one. This game's gonna be amazing if you give it the time that it needs and deserves. Next up, the Final Fantasy 16 reviews have finally gone live, and right now it's sitting at an 88 on Metacritic, so all is good there. And for our next story, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about how Final Fantasy 16 was not gonna have a day one patch, literally like the only modern AAA release that can say that. Well, unfortunately, they kind of had to go back on that, but it's not as bad as you might think. So this coming from Dreambaum, I think is how you say it, on Twitter, quote, "The Final Fantasy 16 team apologizes as they're going to deliver a pre-release update to fix issues they found on the way to release. They're going to be fixing progression issues, crash issues, optimized performance in several places, minor text errors, and it's only going to be about 300 megabytes, and again, they apologize for that, but it's a 300 megabyte day one patch. I mean, come on, like most games when they release, half the game is inside of that day one patch, you know, it's like somewhere between like 30 and 70 gigabytes, it's insane, but you know, 300 megabytes, that's nothing. I really, if anything, I'm glad that they're pushing this patch out just to, you know, further the optimization in the game and, you know, fix some smaller things. So it's not a huge deal, but it still does suck that there's gonna be a day one patch anyway. I was hoping that this could be like the first AAA release in years that didn't need one, but it is what it is. It's not a big deal. And for our next story, I found this one pretty interesting, but the Xbox One is no longer being developed for it. This coming from Axios, quote, "We've moved on to Gen 9, Booty says, referring to the current cycle of hardware. No internal teams are now working on games for the older gen consoles outside of support for ongoing games like Minecraft," Booty says. "That's an expected transition, but one that has come later this cycle as Microsoft and rival Sony extended support for their older devices and the more than 100 million people who own them." Booty noted that Microsoft's Gen 9 games are playable on its Gen 8 Xbox One console via Microsoft's streaming cloud tech. "That's how we're going to maintain support," end quote. So, yeah, I feel like we're at this point, though, with console hardware where, like, Sure, they say that they're not going to be developing for the Xbox One anymore, and that's completely okay, but we're at a point where, like, even those consoles were capable of super graphics, like Uncharted 4 and all the other, like the Tomb Raider games on Xbox even. Those consoles were very, very capable. Sure, they may be slightly dated by today's standards, but they were still much more capable, and the leap between the 8th and the 9th generation is not as big as previous generations, so I feel like we're at this point where I mean, even for the rest of this generation and generations going forward, I feel like the support for those previous gen consoles are going to be continuing for a lot longer than we've ever seen before, especially with new services coming out, like Booty was saying, you know, with them planning to kind of support the Xbox One in a way by making these games available via cloud streaming. So it's obviously expected as games advance and as technology advances and as they try to move things on to the next generation that eventually they drop off and kind of like leave the last generation behind, understandably so. I mean, at this point in the Xbox One and PS4 generation, coming off of the 360 and PS3 generation, the 360 and PS3 was long behind those next-gen consoles at the time, which would have been like the equivalent of like 2016 in that generation. But hey, at the very least, even if, you know, there's players out there that still have their Xbox One and aren't able to afford upgrading to a Series X or even a Series S, which is, you know, the case for a lot of people with inflation doing what inflation does best, you know, those games are still available via cloud streaming, so, you know, that's at least still an option. And for our next story, this one was rather interesting, but considering who it's about, it really didn't surprise me. So apparently Kojima wants him and his new game to go to space. Okay, so Jeff Keighley ended up asking Kojima what he'd like to do both in life and with future games, and he has one simple answer: go to space. Quote, I want to go to outer space, right? Kojima says at 21.3 as the audience laughs, I want to go to outer space and create a game that you can play in space, because right now you probably can't play all the games in outer space, but I'd play that. So someone please send me to space, end quote. So yeah, that was that was pretty interesting to me, to say the least. It's like, you know, you hear a lot of crazy stuff from Kojima, all the stuff he's working on with like the one game, or he's gonna like integrate the cloud in some new crazy, innovative, interesting way, but no, man, he's exceeding past the clouds at this point, literally and metaphorically. He wants to go to space. And for our next story, Square Enix quietly re-released Chocobo GP without microtransactions. So they re-released this game on June 15th, and it now includes all the unlockables in game. There's no longer any microtransactions, so I mean, if you previously played Chocobo GP Lite, you can also purchase the upgrade to transfer your saves, so there's that. But yeah, originally they tried to launch this game as one of those live service microtransaction riddle messes. It didn't exactly work out, and now they're doing what they should have done from the beginning and just, you know, made a real game, and now it's released. Originally I was going to skip over it, but now that it's a real game, yeah, I'm going to check it out. And for our next story, Xbox Game Pass and their consoles are seeing a price increase. This coming from Video Games Chronicle, quote, from July 6th, the monthly price of an Xbox Game Pass subscription for console will increase from $9.99 to $10.99. At the same time, the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate price will increase from $14.99 per month to $16.99. However, PC Game Pass pricing will not be changing, which I found to be pretty interesting. How come you would think that they would want to keep the prices the same for their loyal Xbox customers, right? Because that's like their main thing. I mean, it's you know, it's literally called Xbox Game Pass. But they don't increase the price for a PC. Maybe there's just less value on PC. Maybe there isn't as many games on the PC version, which I can understand, but I found that kind of interesting. And furthermore, Xbox Series X new pricing starts August 1st. So it's still going to be $4.99 in the US. That stays the same. But in other countries, here are their percentages. In the UK, it's going to be going up 6.6%. And as for the other countries, I'm not exactly sure what these are. Oh, in Canada, it'll be going up 8.3%. The other ones, I can't exactly tell by the flags. I'll just kind of try to describe them so you guys know what I'm talking about. The one flag, it's blue. And then there's like, there's a yellow circle in the middle. There's like a bunch of dots that like make up a circle in the middle, if you know what country that is. Yeah, the Xbox Series X will be going up 10% in cost there. And then the one below that, it's like, it kind of looks like a US flag, except it looks like there's maybe like a UK thing in the top corner, and then there's like some other white dots drawn throughout it. Anyway, in that country, it'll be going up 6.6%. I tried to do some research. I was trying to Google it, but Google wasn't liking my emojis. It wasn't letting me search those up, so I apologize. Regardless, if you know what countries I'm talking about, those are the countries where the prices will be increasing, and by what percent. I found that pretty interesting. You know, in the US, they're keeping it in the same, but in the other countries, they're raising it up. However, maybe it's adjusting for inflation. Maybe the cost of, I mean, obviously the cost of the console is still going up, but maybe it isn't actually like necessarily a cost increase overall. Maybe it's just them adjusting the prices over there for inflation. I'm not really sure, but regardless, I figured I would just at least mention it here. Those prices in those countries that I mentioned will be going up. Next up, as you guys know at this point, I always like to update you guys on what games are coming to the various subscription services. I mean, we all have them. Might as well update you guys so you guys know what games are available. And this time, I have the June Xbox Game Pass games for you guys. First, Bramble the Mountain King, FIST, Forged in Shadow Torch, Need for Speed Unbound, Arcade Paradise, Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, which for those of you that don't know, that's like the renamed version of Harvest Moon. If you don't know the history there of why there's a new name, I highly recommend going to check it out. It's some very interesting history there. Sword and Fairy Together Forever, and the Bookwalker. So some pretty solid games there. Bramble the Mountain King, that's a very underrated game that I would definitely recommend checking out. It's sort of like a little Nightmares type of game, but it's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with it. It only took me a couple of hours to beat. I literally beat it in one sitting in one afternoon. So yeah, definitely worth the download, definitely worth trying. And all the other games are absolutely fantastic as well. Fist is a great game. Need for Speed is a great game. Definitely a solid lineup here to close out the month. And then this is less of like a full-on update and rather just like a game that was announced that'll be coming to the service. But anyway, Fire Emblem is going to be coming to Nintendo Switch Online. In fact, by the time you guys are watching this, it should already be available. It's going up June 23rd, and obviously the day that this is going up is June 23rd. It's in the Game Boy Advance section, so if you want to go look for it there, yeah, it's a great game. I highly recommend it. Now, for the moment I've all been waiting for, the Nintendo Direct recap. I'm gonna just say right off the bat, this is a very subjective thing. You don't have to agree with my opinion, but my opinion is that Nintendo Direct was absolutely perfect. I'm a huge fan of all of the games that were announced, or, you know, in terms of like the IPs that already exist from the games that I played, which, you know, I'll kind of like point those out as we go, but I was a huge fan of all the IPs that already do exist. And as for the new IPs that were announced there, they looked very interesting and caught my interest immediately as soon as they came on the screen. So I am very excited for all of these upcoming games that were announced. So I'm just gonna do what I kind of usually do here. I'll just kind of run through, just kind of like name off all the names, maybe, you know, throw in a couple comments here and there. But I watched the Direct in real time, and then after that I went back and jotted down everything in order as it appeared. So everything that I'll be saying, it's being said in the order that it appeared. So first, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC was announced. This will be coming out in two parts. The first part coming in fall 2023, and the second half coming in winter 2023. After that, we saw Sonic Superstars, which obviously that game was already revealed. This was just more or less being like, hey, this game is coming to the Switch, which we all kind of expected. After that, a game called Paleo was shown off, which is like a free-to-play life sim looking game, like a Animal Crossing type thing. Almost not really a... I definitely recommend going to look up a trailer of that one, because again, it's free to play, so literally anybody can download it. It looked interesting. That'll be coming holiday 2023. After that, they showed off Persona 5 Tactica, which is coming November 17th. After that, they announced a Splatfest event, which will be happening from July 14th, 5 p.m. PT Friday to July 16th, 5 p.m. PT Sunday. After that, they showed off Detective Pikachu Returns, which is coming October 6th. I'm so excited for that game, man. It looked absolutely great from the trailer that they showed. After that, they dropped the absolute bombshell Super Mario RPG Remake, which will be coming November 17th. I am so excited for this. I love the original in the SNES back in the day, and words cannot describe my excitement, and my excitement for this cannot be contained. After that, we didn't get a name for this game, but they teased a new Peach game, which is awesome because we haven't gotten a Peach game since, what, Super Princess Peach on the DS, and that game was great, actually. I had a lot of fun with it back in the day, so I'm really excited to see what this is all about. And then they announced a Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon remake, which is coming next year, but I found that interesting because there's not currently a way, as far as I know at least, to play Luigi's Mansion 1 on the Switch, but they're remaking the second one, yet there's no way to play the first one on the Switch. I don't know, I found that interesting. Maybe they're doing something, maybe they want to do like a full-on remake with it, and that one's just not going to be ready for a bit longer. I'm not exactly sure because I you know, I could see the first one being a bit harder to remake compared to the second one, just, you know, given the fact that it's a bit older. Anyways, after that, they showed off the Batman Arkham Trilogy, which will finally be coming to the Switch. And if you're wondering what three games I'm talking about, it's Asylum, City, and Night. Unfortunately, Arkham Origins won't be coming to the Switch, which, you know, that kind of sucks because that game is getting less and less accessible these days. The only way to play it currently is either PC on Steam, Xbox One backwards compatibility, but otherwise, in terms of current gen solutions, there's no way to do it unless you have the original hardware, that being like the 360 or the PS3, but I mean, you don't need a 360 because it is backwards compatible, but on the PlayStation side of things, there's no way to play it there unless you have a PS3, and in terms of the Nintendo Switch, you have to have a Wii U because that's the only Nintendo console that Arkham Origins was released on, so I'm hoping that maybe they'll release it at some point, or, you know, maybe make it more accessible, or at least start including it with the other three games, because Arkham Origins is a very competent entry in the Arkham series. Anyways, after that, they showed off Gloomhaven, which is coming September 18th. That game looked interesting. After that, they showed off Just Dance 2024 edition, which is coming October 24th. As I always say, there's three things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and an annual Just Dance game. After that, they showed off Silent Hope, which has like a really cool art style. It's like a cutesy anime looking thing. Definitely recommend going to look up a trailer of that one. I'll be picking that one up as soon as I can. It really caught my interest as soon as it was shown. That'll be coming October 3rd. After that, they showed off Fae Farm, which is coming September 8th. Then they showed off Hot Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged coming October 19th, which is interesting because Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 just came out last year, but I'll take it. The first game was fun, super excited for this. After that, they showed off Manic Mechanics, which is coming July 13th. That looks like an Overcooked type of game. After that, they showed off Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope DLC, which actually came out Wednesday, so you can go download that if you have the game, or, you know, if that interests you. And then after that, they showed off Dragon Quest Monsters. If you don't know what that is, it's essentially like Dragon Quest meets Pokemon. It's not actually Pokemon, but very similar concept. They had some older games of the series. Those were great, and this seems to be further elevating the Pokemon type aspects, I guess I could say, but it looks really great. I'm super excited for this. That is coming December 1st, a definite pre-order for me. Then they showed off some Pikmin 4 gameplay. That'll still be coming out June 28th, and then after that, they shadow drop Pikmin 1 and 2 remasters, so they're on the eShop now. If you want to go get them, you can. They didn't announce any physical remasters during the Direct. I'm hoping that they get, like, a physical copy, because that's, I mean, I'm a physical collector, so I would like to get a physical copy, but if not, I mean, I'll still pick up the eShop versions, because I love the Pikmin games, period. After that, they showed off Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, which includes Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, the NES version of Metal Gear and Snake's Revenge, Metal Gear Solid, the digital graphic novel, and Metal Gear Solid 2, the digital graphic novel, on top of a bunch of other stuff. And they also noted that Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 will be available separately on the eShop, so you can buy them separately if you don't want the whole collection. That'll be coming October 24th. As soon as I heard that sound, I knew exactly what it was. Like, before the picture even showed up on screen, I heard the sound effect. You know, when you're caught by a guard in the Metal Gear games, I heard the sound effect. I jumped out of my seat. I was screaming before there was even any footage on screen, and as soon as the footage finally did come on screen, I was literally crying. Metal Gear Solid on the go, man. I'm gonna be triple dipping on this one. I'm getting this on my PlayStation, on my Switch, might even get it on PC and Xbox. After that, they showed off Vampire Survivors, which is finally coming to the Switch on August 17th. No clue why it hasn't come out on the Switch up to this point. Then they showed off Headbangers Rhythm Royale, which is, just go look up a trailer of it, please. It's like Rock Band, or it's not necessarily like Rock Band. Why not use that comparison? It's a rhythm game, and, you know, the soundtrack would probably remind you of something like Guitar Hero or Rock Band, because, you know, it's more of that rock theme. But there's pigeons, and it's like a battling type of game. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. Please just go look up a trailer. Originally, I wasn't sure about this one, but I'm going to be picking it up just out of pure curiosity. That's coming Halloween, October 31st. After that, they showed off Penny's Big Breakaway, coming early 2024. And then they showed that there will be Mario Kart 8 Wave 5 DLC coming sometime this summer. So, you know, it'll be more maps, more characters, more stuff there. And if you have the expansion pack, then you basically get that for free. And then they showed off Star Ocean: The Second Story R. This is a remake with HD 2D graphics that'll be coming November 2nd. I'm really excited for this one. I love Star Ocean. It's one of my favorite RPG series. They did an absolutely fantastic job with the remake on Star Ocean: The First Departure R that was released for, you know, like current gen consoles not that long ago. So I'm really excited to see what they do with this one and how they handle it. And just from what I've seen from like the art style and the gameplay that we saw in the trailer, yeah, it looks absolutely phenomenal. After that, they showed off WarioWare Move It coming out November 3rd, which, again, this is another one that I'm gonna get out of pure curiosity's sake. I always end up picking up the WarioWare games just out of pure curiosity, just to kind of mess around with it, even if I don't play more than a couple of times, just because even if they're not necessarily breaking boundaries, they're still, they like to give them credit. They're rather innovative, and they're still doing fun and funky things, so I still enjoy those games. Again, that's coming November 3rd, so I'll definitely be picking that one up, at least get that on physical copy and everything. And then they announced a Nintendo Live Event 2023. It'll be in Seattle. Just visit the website for more details. They didn't give a whole lot of details in the Direct. Like, literally all it said was, visit the website for more details, so that's what I wrote down on my notes. I'm sorry. And then after that, they announced Zelda and Ganondorf amiibos coming this holiday. And then finally, they had their one more thing where they announced Super Mario Bros. Wonder, the new 2D Mario game that's coming October 20th. If you want more of my thoughts on this, I recommend going to my main channel and watching, by the time you guys see this, it would be my most recent video, I think. But basically, I made a video talking about the Nintendo Direct, and I went on a full gush session about Mario Bros. Wonder at the end there. But just to keep things short, because I know this episode's already been going for a little while now, all I'm going to say is, I'm very excited. This game looks like an absolute trip. People online have been saying, hey, all the shrooms that Mario's been doing for the last couple years have finally gone up with him. I've been dying seeing all the stuff people have been saying. But yeah, this Direct, in my opinion, was honestly perfect. At least for me, personally, as a gamer, from what I enjoy and what I was looking for out of it. Yeah, this was perfect for me, personally. I'm very excited for everything here, especially the new Mario game. I love 2D Mario games. I know some people have different preferences. Some people like 2D, some people like 3D Mario. For me, I like both. I just love Mario, and the fact that we're getting a new 2D 3D Mario makes me so happy. We haven't gotten one since literally a decade ago with New Super Mario Bros. U back on the Wii U, so I'm really excited for this. Obviously, pre-ordering it, getting it day one physically, and I'm so excited. I mean, you literally get to like turn into an elephant. There's like the pipe surfing and the flowers that look like they're out of like Mario Galaxy, like switching the dimensions. I don't even know what was happening. Definitely look up. Well, no, you don't have to look up a trailer. You're seeing it on your screen right now because I'm definitely out of all the trailers that happened yesterday. Yeah, that's definitely the one that I'm going to be showing during this, but yeah, the game looks insane. Super excited for this one. But anyways, yeah, that's all the stories and stuff that I got for you guys this week, so now I definitely want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on everything we talked about? Whether it's Kojima wanting to go to space, are you excited for Final Fantasy 16? Are you disappointed about Immortals of Aveum getting delayed? Are you looking forward to that one? Are you going to be checking out the Callisto Protocol DLC? What are your thoughts on the Nintendo Direct? What game are you most excited for? Whatever it is, whatever you're thinking, I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. Anyways, this is Weekly GCap. New episodes go live every single Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, so if you want to catch them as soon as they go live, well then I know to be here. But anyways, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day and an amazing weekend. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.